IVM.
Hey everybody, welcome to another week on the IVM Podcast Network. As I mentioned last week, we're going through this COVID-19 outbreak, and because of that recording schedules, we're trying to keep them, but it's a little uneven at this point in time. Beg your indulgence. While you are stuck at home, I think one thing that might be interesting to do is maybe check out some of the complete series that we've done. The Gulaba Cartel, Woody Woodpecker, Cricketwala Chronicles. These are limited series that are complete. Might be a good time to check out those. Also want to thank our sponsors this week, HDFC Life and Paytm Money. And with that, let me get you onto your show and stay safe, everyone.
Hey, you nerds. It's your boy, me. You know me. My name is Jishnu. How are you? I'm fine. Thank you very much. It's very strange times, isn't it? Let's fight these strange times with stranger things. No, not those things. Old things. Like the things we love to talk about. Old movies and such. So this week, we have a super special episode. I know we always say that, but this time it's true. We're going on a journey. It's theater of the mind, everybody, this week. We're going to the year 1998. We're digging into the archives deep. You thought we started in 2015? Well, you're wrong. We've been at this business since 1998. Let's do it. Godzilla, starring Matthew Broderick.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Geek Fruit Show. It's me, Tejas, and I have with me my best friends, Dinkar and Jishnu. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hey guys, what's up? How are you all?
Excellent, considering I just saw an amazing movie with one of my favorite characters, henceforth, Godzilla.
I've been a big Godzilla fan ever since I've been seeing the ads for this movie. Actually, they're all over the place. And in Hyderabad, I saw an ad that is a huge billboard that says his foot is bigger than Golconda Fort.
And you know what's insane? Golconda Fort is huge.
It's huge, and his foot is bigger than that. But I will say, in this movie, I don't think it was actually that big.
In fact, in this movie, his size changes quite frequently.
Yeah, like
why would you say
when he almost crushes the cameraman guy, Hank Azaria, his foot looks like maybe twice his height, so maybe it's like 15 feet. That's not bigger than Golconda Fort.
Definitely not.
Oh wait, maybe the ad said he can jump over Golconda Fort in one leap or something like that, which is definitely possible. But I'll tell you what.
Maybe they mean girth, not height.
That's vulgar, man. I think kids listen to the show. I'll tell you what that has done for
Kids
me.
are talking on this show.
An effect that I think will last for years. It just really gives you this perspective of like, this is what Godzilla would look like if he was here right now. And I suspect that's something that will haunt me for years to come.
Also, I love localized marketing.
Yeah, I've never seen it before. It's like, I literally can't think of any Hollywood movie that's advertised like this to people. I mean, I was so excited because it's like, Godzilla knows about Golconda Fort. Like he comes in and we're like, Namaste.
I do remember this movie being like very specific to like, like this can be a movie that...
you should remember, it was just this week.
No, I remember it from like this week. That's what I meant.
Right. Yeah.
That this movie has done the first like very good job in marketing that I've ever seen for any movie so far, because it's like really... something that I know about before the movie comes out. Like I've seen a trailer, I've bought some toys, I bought a mug with Godzilla's face on it.
Have you guys been seeing the songs? There are these music videos also. There's a Puff Daddy song, which has that old Led Zeppelin song Kashmir in it. And I believe it's actually Led Zeppelin's Jimmy Page playing the riff.
I haven't saved up 400 rupees to buy the CD yet, but when I saw the movie, I don't know if I heard it in the movie. Is it in the movie?
Not prominently, but songs do go on throughout the movie. There are some really good songs in there, and they all happen like in the background of scenes and stuff like that. But in this Puff Daddy song, in the music video, they show people in a theater wearing 3D glasses watching Godzilla. And this wasn't a 3D movie, which is upsetting because I really feel like that technology should be coming around soon enough.
I was going to say, I don't know if it's invented.
It is invented, yes. There have been 3D movies at this point. Just know it's 1998, come on. But I don't know why this one wasn't in 3D. I was really excited to see his foot like come into your face.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
My favorite thing about this movie, though, is obviously the character of Godzilla, because I thought the graphics were pretty cool, and it reminded me
They
a
were
lot.
really good. Like he's like walking around almost killing people. So
Yeah, it was quite good. It reminded me a lot of Jurassic Park, one of my other favorite movies of all time, which I have the VHS for.
that I love.
Amazing. And I think they look really menacing, the dinosaurs, and they kind of use those effects here because it's very dark, the movie, and it's very like rainy all the time, and like I love
Yeah.
that.
The rain seemed a bit much when I think about it. I didn't mind it while watching it, but if I think back on the fact, yeah, it's a very moist movie. There's a lot of wetness just unnecessarily everywhere. Even when they're underground, even when they're in Madison Square Garden, when they're at the nest, because like pre-blowing a hole into the building, there's still somehow like water just seeping in through everywhere, and I was just like, yo, like, why is it so wet?
Do you think Godzilla affects weather patterns? Like he's so tall that he forces precipitation in the clouds?
Maybe it's something to do with the radiation, man. He's leaking radiation, dog. He's just walking around with all that radiation. He must have done something to the clouds.
He must have taken a piss at some point, and when you're that big, it gets everywhere.
That actually brings me to another question. So I'm assuming everyone watching or everyone listening to this thing, I don't know. Like,
Show,
maybe
Dinkar.
this show, yeah. Like maybe we're just recording it for fun, and maybe someday people will listen to it on some kind of audio medium. But what occurred to me was when they figure out that Godzilla is pregnant, they go, he's pregnant. And then everyone's like, wait, how can he be pregnant? And Matthew Broderick explains it as, well, he's reproducing asexually.
Yeah.
But why didn't they just assume it was a she?
My favorite scene in that is when he takes the blood of Godzilla or the urine and puts it
urine,
on
I believe.
and he puts it on a human pregnancy test, and he determines that it's pregnant and she's pregnant, and then his next line is, but technically you can't use these pregnancy tests on anything apart from humans, but she's pregnant.
Yeah.
So if
He does say they're testing for the same thing.
So if you can't use it on anything except humans, why does he say that? And how is it possible?
Because they needed a scene.
I don't care, but
They
how?
needed to have a scene with innuendo between Audrey and Matthew Broderick standing in the rain inside a tent talking about ovaries.
Also, can we talk about how lame Audrey is and how she's so lame and like she's the worst and I hate her?
Yeah, and she's doing this like very ditzy kind of character throughout. Like she acts like she's in a movie from the 40s.
Yeah.
Which I know was only like 50 years ago, but still.
That being said,
Audrey,
her friend, I don't think gets enough credit. I forget her name, but Hank Azaria's wife.
Yeah.
Lucy or something?
Mrs. Animal.
Mrs. Animal. She like single-handedly like set up a freaking shelter in her home and like cooked for people and gave people food out of a pantry and stuff. Like, way to go. Like, hello. I want to see the sequel with her.
Yeah.
And her charitable organization called the
she
Animal
would survive
Shelter.
really well in like a nationwide like lockdown situation. She would be great.
I don't see why that would actually happen. It's not like Godzilla's going to turn up, but yeah, she probably would.
Let's take
Quite.
a short break and come back and talk about the plot of the movie and what you thought of the story. Because I thought the story was sick. Let's talk about
I
it.
actually thought it was sick as well.
Here.
Advertising is dead. Yep, you heard me right. Advertising is dead. We're all in the content business now. Let's not call it news, TV, radio, etc., etc. It's all content, and we're in the middle of this weirdly exciting phase where all the borders and lines that have been drawn over decades has been swept away by this lovely thing called the internet. We're a show where we don't dwell on just the stuff that is now, but rather the wider stuff about advertising, media, content, and the whole goddamn circus surrounding it. Tune in every Tuesday for our weekly unboxing of the mystery box we used to call advertising. I'm Varun Dugirala, co-founder and content chief at The Glitch, and this is my new podcast, Advertising is Dead.
Hey guys, we're back on the Geek Fruit Show, and we're talking about our favorite new movie, Godzilla.
Well, let me set the scene for our listeners. This is kind of a, classic movie in the sense it's a lot like it's very like Jurassic Park in that humanity has to deal with a new threat. But what's different is Godzilla isn't a dinosaur. When I first saw ads for this movie, I thought, wow, like this dinosaur is scary as hell. But apparently he is, as Matthew Broderick's character says at one point in the movie, the first of his kind. And he's the fallout of some nuclear tests run by the French government. So he looks very much like a dinosaur, but like a more human dinosaur.
He looks like they show some iguanas in the beginning of the film. He looks like a mutated version of like a Komodo dragon.
Yes. You know what we call a Godzilla type looking thing around these parts here in Bengal?
What?
A tiktiki.
A tiktiki?
Yup.
Is that what a lizard is?
Isn't that like a gecko, man?
It's like a lizard. It's just a funner name than Godzilla.
So how do you say big in Bengali, or like very big or gigantic?
Virat or Boro. Like I would love Virat or Boro would be big, but like
so borrowed, tiktiki.
A Boro tiktiki. So I would love if the
doesn't roll off the tongue.
No, but can you imagine, like, if I was if I was cast as old man dying in bed, and Jean Reno comes up to me and like, "What did you see, old man?" Tiktiki, tiktiki.
No, you'd be like tiktiki, Boro tiktiki.
And then some American newscaster is going to be like, well, they found a
tiki. They found a tiki.
My question, even though I really don't like questioning these kinds of movies, I just thought it was awesome. The whole movie, just generally awesome. But also really bad in many parts, including that scene with Jean Reno. He's waving that lighter in front of the only surviving Japanese fisherman who says Gojira, Gojira. And then later on, and there's nobody in that room, but later on, there's a clip played from that exact scene.
Oh, yeah.
On a
same
TV.
Camera angle.
Who shot that, man? Who was there in the room with him to record that moment? I don't know. So
he had a handycam stashed up his sleeve.
It's kind of strange.
Honestly,
he had a
there's probably
handicap.
A lot of things like that which are weird in this, like, just don't make sense in this movie. Like, I don't see how you'd get Godzilla from Gojira either, or how Animal seems to be always in the right place at the right time. But I just thought the movie was awesome anyway. The plot is basically they have to figure out where Godzilla came from and how to get to it before it destroys all of New York City. And it's in New York City because it's laying a bunch of eggs there. It's nesting, as Matthew Broderick's character says. And Matthew Broderick's character basically studies the effects of nuclear fallout on animals. So the military enlists him to help. And, that's kind of really it. The rest of it is just like Godzilla.
Also, now that I think about it, there's one move that Broderick does at the very beginning when he's full on playing worm guy, which is at the start of the movie before he gets picked up by the military. He's digging around for these earthworms.
Yeah.
And he takes like car batteries or something and like he zaps the ground.
Yeah.
Pretty cool move. Why didn't he try didn't he try that with Godzilla?
Because
that's foreshadowing, Jishnu, because he does it in the end.
Huh. So they're like tanks and stuff.
But they do it in the end though, because he takes an electrical wire and puts it in the tooth of the Godzilla when the taxi's in his mouth. I will say this though. I think now, thinking about the movie, I only like the first two acts of the film. The third act is a bit of a mishmash of some of my other favorite movies like Jurassic Park and Alien, but doesn't execute it to that effect. Like when I saw those eggs in Madison Square Garden, I was just like, whoa, Where's Sigourney
right.
Weaver? Where's Lieutenant Ripley?
But
And I thought, like, they're running through the hallways and like the Madison Square Garden, and all these baby Godzillas, spoilers,
Choto
are
Tik Tiki.
trying to eat them, but don't just
Choto,
Tik Tiki,
Choto,
if
Choto,
you think
Choto.
about it. Choto. All right, got it. And I just didn't understand why that became the movie instead of just focusing on Godzilla. And I get that, she needs to reproduce. That's what the whole, but she or he.
I think it's a he, but they decide that he's reproducing asexually, but they never explain why they think he's a boy.
Right. Yeah, because he doesn't have a partner.
Yeah.
If Godzilla had a Twitter account, maybe we would know
What's
its
Twitter?
pronouns.
What's a Twitter?
You know what birds
Oh,
do?
right.
Tweet.
Anyway.
Okay.
Tweet.
Yeah, so, sorry, I beg your pardon. A Yahoo Messenger
ICQ.
or an ICQ, yes.
But my
Well,
saving
yes,
grace for
because
the
when you
thought
ask
though,
Godzilla
I
ASL,
agree.
he'd have to say, well, I was just born, male, and right now in New York City, where I'm nesting.
I agree that the
Nice.
third act was a little all over the place, but I think the saving grace, though, which I still love, is after they get out of Madison Square Garden and they're just driving around in a cab. Very similar to like a Jurassic Park vibe of like being chased in the Jeep or whatever. But just banter between a Jean Reno and a Hank Azaria trapped in a New York cab.
Yeah.
Makes it
Agree.
worth it. Also, somehow, if I think about it, like obviously New York City is like ground zero most of the time for these kind of big action movies where like the world is ending and like who can save us? Only one New York resident. Somehow I feel like this is one of the few times where it's like kind of more positive towards the city, where like the city triumphs and like sort of rallies behind each other, and like the set pieces are to save said big iconic New York
Yeah.
building
Yeah.
or like the park or whatever it is,
The Chrysler
Yeah,
building.
exactly. Just like just name drop all the New York things, and instead of like blowing it up like an Independence Day, for example, that another good movie I recently saw.
The same guy who made this movie.
Exactly. In that movie, New York has to be the scapegoat for you to understand, oh my God, they're so tough that they can destroy New York. That's why we must give a shit about these aliens. But in this movie, it's like, oh, Godzilla is really bad, but New York will save us because nobody can beat New York. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Fun
I like
fact, the mayor of New York in this movie, Mayor Ebert,
Yeah.
is named
Yeah,
after
yeah.
Roger Ebert.
Yes.
And he's named after Roger Ebert because Ebert and Siskel trashed Independence Day.
Oh, really?
And that's why at the end when this guy quits, his assistant, he goes like, thumbs down to you, because that's Roger Ebert's thing.
that. Right, he is. God bless his soul. In the future.
Also, well, I guess, think about it. Wow.
But yeah, he's fine. I don't know what your issue is. Okay, let's
My
just,
goodness.
before we take a break, Jurassic Park just came out like 5 years ago. So how do you think it compares? Because first of all, Jurassic Park is way better, I think. But does this movie come close at all?
I mean, I've seen Jurassic Park maybe 150
Already?
times. Yeah, because I borrowed the video from Tetco Video and
Is
didn't
your
return it.
VHS stuck in
And
the
then-
player?
Is that
also,
why I
like
went
mine?
to Tetco Video
I
and I,
can't
couldn't
get
get a
mine out.
copy?
Here's the other thing. I went to next to Tetco Video in Karama in Dubai.
Where we live right now,
There's one of my favorite restaurants.
Pizza Inn? Yeah.
Called Pizza Inn. Yes. And Pizza Inn has an offer right now that if you buy 3 large pizzas, you could win a copy of your favorite movie. And I got Jurassic Park.
Tejas, are you a Pizza Inn or a Pizza Hut boy?
As of now, I'm Pizza Inn because it's
Right.
close to my house. But I can walk there. Actually, if you ask me, I'm a Royal Garden
Oh, I love
person,
Royal Garden.
Man,
Jishnu,
I
what do you do for
cannot
pizza
wait,
at yours?
which is opposite Archie's
I
Comics.
can't wait until Pizza Hut comes to Bombay. I've heard so many good things.
How do you eat pizza in Bombay?
We go
my
to Pizzeria
God.
on Marine Drive, and then I go to Jazz by the Bay to watch my favorite band Vayu play Deep Purple songs.
Nice.
But don't tell my mom I had a cranberry breezer.
What? You're like 8 years old right now.
I said, don't tell my mom.
Cool.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so tell us how it compares to Jurassic Park.
It doesn't.
Let us take a
Okay.
break first, and then we'll come and talk about Jurassic Park
All
versus
right.
Godzilla.
This is a movie I would watch.
Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta. I'm B50 on Twitter. I am the host of Paisa Paisa, the show that talks money. On my show, I speak to experts from every field of money and finance, from stock markets, equities, debt funds, credit cards, life insurance, every possible area of money and finance that you can think of. We even did an episode on cryptocurrency. I've got fantastic guests from mutual funds to personal finance experts everywhere. Robo-advisory, startups, just name it, we've got it. At Paisa Paisa, we help you make smart decisions about money. You work hard for money. Now make your money work hard for you. New episodes out every Monday, and you can listen to my show on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you have.
Hey everybody, we're back. We're talking about Godzilla, but this time Godzilla versus one of our other favorite movies, Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park: The Lost World.
Yeah, and you know what's very similar between this movie and The Lost World is in both of them, the giant creature attacks a city. Though I will say it destroys way more in Godzilla than in Jurassic Park.
Are you
But,
talking about The Lost World?
The Lost World, yes,
Right.
which just came out last year.
I think.
But I kind of think Lost World was a better movie, even
Oh,
though
yeah.
there's less
Yeah.
explosions and stuff.
Hell yeah.
I do like all the parts of Jurassic Park which are not in the city though. Like that's still my favorite parts of Jurassic Park.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because when it gets to a city level kind of a place of like that kind of destruction, it becomes a bit meaningless for me. Like then it becomes like any kind of apocalyptic movie. But and that's why Godzilla, I still like
Independence Day.
yeah, like an Independence Day. But I still, having said that, I still prefer all the parts of Godzilla where he's just being trying to go through different streets of New York.
Yeah, I'll tell you what worked for me is the city parts because it felt different. And I think in terms of how much you care about the story or what Godzilla is doing and why he's doing it, it doesn't matter much. But it is fun to see those like scenes in the city where he's just kicking stuff over or stamping streets down.
I like the fact that the ending of Godzilla, the third act of both movies, is kind of the same. Big monster loose in a city doing monster things in a city, right? And it's up to like one man in Jurassic Park to save us, and in Godzilla it's up to like 3 or 4 people. But I think the difference though is that in Godzilla, I think I like that third act a bit more because you know that he's defending his nest, and that's why he's like pissed off, because he's like, yo, why are you coming into my house? And the humans are like, well, you came into our house first. Whereas in Lost World, it's T-Rex being like, I've just woken up from a coma that you put me in. Where the f*** am I? And how do I get out of here? And he's just literally acting on fear of just like, I'm confused, and therefore I don't care about like collateral damage. I'm just like, I need to go somewhere that's not here. But in Godzilla, all he's doing is trying to kill that one cab. He's identified like 3 people, and I just want to kill these 3 people. There are like millions of humans around me. I don't care about these millions of humans because I can take them. But these 3 mofos are getting up my business. And so it's like it's a personal story for Godzilla. Whereas in Lost World, it's literally just like a bull in a china shop and get him out, and he doesn't know how to get out. You know what I mean?
Can I ask, do you think that's because in this movie Godzilla has a personality and
He does.
thoughts as opposed to
Yeah.
in Jurassic Park they're clearly animals.
Yeah.
But Godzilla seems to have like
Yes.
a real
Agenda.
Right, exactly.
like
you
plot.
You empathize. You
agenda.
empathize with him. Like when Matthew Broderick like says like he's actually reproducing asexually and he's trying to make it work. It's a moment of like, oh, so he didn't come here to like mess up our lives. He came here because he's just too big to nest anywhere else. He needs
Yeah.
he needs a home that can fit his size, and therefore I need a building as big as Madison Square Garden to live in.
Maybe-
Whereas in Lost World, it's
yeah.
like the humans brought King Kong to. It's literally the King Kong story. The humans brought the T-Rex off of his native land into human land, and the T-Rex is like, "Why am I here? Let me get home." And the humans are like, "Oh no! While you're trying to get home, you're gonna kill us. So I need to put you to sleep." So it's all the humans' fault. And it also is humans' fault in Godzilla,
Yeah.
but at least Godzilla like has a good reason to be there.
I think that's my favorite part of
It
it
is.
is that, that these characters are still, there's still this whole misunderstood vibe, and you kind of do feel empathetic towards them. Especially my favorite scene from Godzilla, the movie, when they just put a huge pile of fish in the middle of New York.
Yeah.
And then he starts
That's
eating
a lot
it.
of fish.
And I was just looking at it, and I was just looking and seeing my own pets, and I think that was very sweet. And the moment you kind of empathize with the fact that they've both got agendas which are to kind of protect themselves and that humans are interfering, I think those are the parallel themes. Though, having said that, Jurassic Park for me still does it better because there are characters in Jurassic Park, both in the first and in the Lost World, who understand the situation as human beings interfering with this with nature, basically. Like Jeff Goldblum's character, his whole character is about that we don't know why we're doing this, we're just doing it because we can do it. And I always like that idea of these films.
He's an action hero conservationist, which you don't see those very often.
He's actually a chaos
I
theory
think-
scientist.
Yeah.
But speaking to your fish point, I think it's further evidence that Godzilla is bong, because he's a Birat Boro Tiktiki who loves macher jhol.
Is it jhol if you just dump a bunch of it on the
He's
streets of New
definitely gonna
York?
cause
I
one.
mean, it becomes jhol whether you like it or not. Like you bite into that mach and
My
you get
favorite
jhol.
scene is right after the fish. Well, it's part of the same scene, but my favorite moment is, and this ties into how we're saying Godzilla is humanized in this movie, is when Matthew Broderick is just standing there and he like slowly
Stares
brings
him
up this
down.
camera
He stares him down.
and takes a
Yeah,
picture,
yeah.
and Godzilla goes like,
Yeah, that's very good, accurate representation of what it sounds like.
he kind of does.
Very
It just feels
Scooby Doo.
Like, "Did you just take a picture of me?"
Hey, but you know what? Come to think of it, isn't that the exact same scene in Jurassic Park 1, I think? Where, the kids are trapped in the Jeep right before the T-Rex escapes from the paddock. And the T-Rex takes one step out and they're like, shut up, don't move. The adults are in one Jeep, the kids are in the other Jeep. And the adults are like hoping the kids don't mess things up. But then the kids accidentally turn on the light. And the light like flashes on the T-Rex's eyes.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same thing. The T-Rex is staring at them.
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm looking at you, but I don't mind." Until the kid like literally
what's
does what
very
Matthew Broderick does.
interesting?
Like he hits the flash, and then boom.
You're right. It is the exact same moment, and I think that shows the difference very clearly in how the movie treats these two animals, essentially. In Godzilla, it's almost played comedically, where you're supposed to think, "Oh, look, Godzilla's amazed that someone's taking this picture." Whereas in Jurassic Park, you're like, this wild, scary animal has realized something is happening.
Pretty much. In Godzilla, he recognizes him. In Jurassic Park, it's because Malcolm even says like he won't respond. He's half blind, so he can't even see anything unless you literally throw up a flare gun or flash a giant mag light in his face. But in Godzilla, he's smart enough to like vaguely recognize Broderick and be like, "I know you. I don't want to eat you," until he flashes him. He's like, "Okay, maybe I do want to eat you."
My other favorite scene in Godzilla is how the entire military loses Godzilla in New York.
Yes.
Yeah.
The best
they
part
have no
about
idea
that,
where he's gone.
the final move, the helicopters are chasing him. They weave in and out between buildings and into
How
buildings.
many
and stuff.
helicopters are
And
there in this? Can you accommodate in one lane in a city? They're like 15 in that scene.
Have you been to New York? Those streets are nonsensically big. Like it's a waste of space. It's way too big. They're huge.
Fair enough.
Each street is like 3 marine drives. No, I love the fact that like when he was hiding from them, like at first he was hiding inside a building and they're like, "Okay, cool, we found him." But then there's one helicopter that gets killed rather, when Godzilla just crouches. There's like an overhead shot There's literally like above, like direct pointing down overhead shot, and the helicopter's just moving slowly, doing his thing. He's like, I can't see him. He's off my radar. And Godzilla's literally just like squatting, like taking a shit. That's why it's wet. He was doing a pee.
He can't see me.
And then he ate the helicopter. Can't see me. And then he just jumps up. It's like,
My other really like exciting moment from this movie, which I think is underrated, is that Godzilla is a very graceful swimmer and diver.
Yeah. Very Shape of Water.
Would have loved to see more underwater scenes, but apparently
Very what?
Shape of Water, a movie that could potentially be made.
Oh, I just meant like he resembles the Shape of Water because he's so amphibious. I don't know what you're
Like
talking
he's
about.
so graceful, he takes the shape of water. I
Yes,
see what you
exactly.
mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, Godzilla,
Okay, right, maybe
great
we can make a
diver,
movie.
and when he goes into the water, we can't track him again because water.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We've compared Godzilla to Jurassic Park, but how do you think it compares to movies that from this year, like Deep Impact came out this year, Armageddon? Where does this movie rank for you guys in the blockbuster?
I liked this movie more than Armageddon, but I loved the cast of Armageddon more. So like the Armageddon banter was just way too good.
Armageddon is a better movie than Godzilla, and that's really saying something because both movies are fucking ridiculous.
That's true. I think I like Godzilla more, honestly. You might be right in that Armageddon is a slightly stronger movie in terms of cast and probably makes a little more sense. Also.
Lesser sense.
No.
Lesser sense for
like
sure.
Lesser sense.
Let's not get into sense. Yeah.
Yeah, sense in the sense. Yeah, you're absolutely right, actually. But I think to tie it back to where I came from in the start, what I really liked about Godzilla is the fact that it kind of awakened this idea in me of what would it be like if a Godzilla just walked into your city. And Armageddon is cool in like a love this movie kind of way. But yeah, I mean, by a hair, it's Godzilla for me.
I think I like Armageddon.
Deep Impact we don't like.
Deep Impact is also a pretty shabby movie, and it kind of came out the same time Armageddon did this year. And I always felt that Armageddon, all these movie plots are pretty like out there in terms of how ridiculous it can be. Sending oil basically drillers to an asteroid when you can just teach astronauts how to drill instead. But they do that anyway. And because all of these movies are so outrageous, I pick the most outrageous, which is Armageddon. And also because I hadn't seen a space movie, and I think Jurassic Park anyway is a better version of what happens when you let loose a prehistoric-esque type beast. And and so that's why I think, what I loved about Godzilla is the sheer size of Godzilla. I think he's awesome, but he has no match. He's unmatched. And if in the future they ever made like a movie where Godzilla was like fighting another Godzilla, like another sized kind of thing, I would watch the shit out of that. But until that happens, if that ever happens.
No way. Like Godzilla would always win. He's kind of above all the other monsters. He's like the king.
Could
almost
be the king of the monsters, you could say. But I don't know.
I don't know. I think a giant butterfly could take him.
What I might do actually is go back and so apparently these Godzilla movies are based on these old Japanese movies that I haven't heard of, and that's why he's called Gojira. So I think I might go and watch a bunch of those because I love this concept.
If they could take that old school Japanese like concept and like instead of stop motion make it in like CGI somehow, that would be incredible. Like I would watch that. I would pay good money to watch that in IMAX style theaters, and also if they ever made a Godzilla movie like how they have Mecha Godzilla, which is a Godzilla which is like a robot Godzilla, I would also pay money to watch that.
I would be super into that.
I think that guy from Malcolm in the Middle, the dad from Malcolm in the Middle, I think he'd be a great part. I see potential.
He's a comedy actor.
I see some great potential in him. Like comedians, I think can be great dramatic actors. I'm putting good money on this.
Well, yeah, like Jim Carrey this year in that movie, The Truman Show. He's
Amazing.
really good.
No,
and it's a very serious movie.
Crazy.
And I love Ed Harris. Sorry, that's it. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. This has been the Geek Fruit Show with Jishnu, Dinkar, and myself, Tejas. And if you liked Godzilla or any other movie this year like Armageddon, please write to us on our email address, contactgeekfruit@gmail.com. And we'd love to hear from you guys. And we'll even read your email on our show. So thanks a lot, you guys. And hear you soon.
Hi guys, this is Ayushi.
And I am Ritasha.
And welcome to Agla Station Adulthood.
It's a fun podcast we've got going on, and we'd love for you to tune in and enjoy with us.
Join us as we stop at various stations and discuss different topics that seem to be bothering us and hopefully
Dating,
you as well.
relationships, beauty, just being an adult, lots of different things.
We don't have a great grip on it, but we've done okay so far.
Catch Agla Station Adulthood every Thursday on the IVM app, the IVM website, or wherever else you get your podcasts.
How many times have you motivated yourself to improve your sleep, or lose weight, or be more productive? How many times have you failed? Hi, my name is Ashton Doctor. Tune into my show, The Habit Coach Podcast, where we focus on creating small, tiny habits to improve your life instead of those big, impossible tasks. So make listening to me a habit every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com or on your favorite podcasting app.